Hello there, I'm Big Alias, blessing you on the sunny afternoon with the intro of a 50-year-old man. Listen, I'm not 50, but I sure do sound it. And I have some unfortunate news. I mean, listen, I made this channel to, make funny videos, what I would consider to be funny videos, and also to make more informative videos, to make reviews and news updates and things like that. And I'm actually very happy with how that's gone. But as an Xbox gamer, sometimes that news can be quite difficult, because it seems as though all of the bad news is coming from the Microsoft side, and I have bad news to report today. For anyone who doesn't know, here goes. This is really annoying. For Game Pass subscribers, this is terrible, terrible news. Listen, I mean, it's news about an entertainment service in 2024. So I'm not going to make you guess whether it's good or bad news, because it was always going to be bad. But essentially, two things are happening to Game Pass. They are removing day one free releases for the standard Game Pass. It will just be a Game Pass Ultimate feature. They're actually introducing a new tier. I don't know too much about the new tier, and they're also upping the price once again of Game Pass. Now you may be thinking as you hear that, what, didn't it go up recently? This seems very quick for it to go up again, and you would be correct. That's right. I can't remember the last time it did go up, but I do know that it very recently went up. Which is a symptom of this horrible Me Too business attitude that's happening right now, and also a side effect of very convenient timing for us to suddenly remove the responsibility of people and businesses. But we're not going to get into that at the moment, but maybe that's a video for another day. But yes, businesses suddenly feel free to up the price of their subscriptions, and I know that a lot of people will be thinking, well, Netflix did it, Disney did it. Yeah, that doesn't make it okay. That definitely doesn't make it okay. It's symptomatic. It's symptomatic as well of the era that we're in, where the companies feel that they don't have to be responsible for making you happy anymore, or keeping you satisfied in any way, and they can just walk all over you. And that's what's happening currently with this. It seems bizarre, though. It seems very odd. It seems like very odd timing, to be honest with you. I definitely wouldn't have bundled both of these announcements at the same time. Taking away people's ability to get day one downloads, or free day one games with standard Game Pass, and then upping the price of the alternative just seems odd. And I also think it's ridiculous how much Game Pass is going up by at the moment. I think when I started my subscription to Game Pass, which was around about 4 or 5 years ago, it was $7.99 a month. I think it's going up to £20 a month. What the fuck is that? What? That is over double. Jesus Christ. Chill out, Microsoft. And I mean, in terms of the day one free games, I mean, there's no excuse for this. A lot of the time they have excuses. They're like, well, look, the games, they're very expensive to get onto the service, which is a very dubious thing to say, because across 4 years, I doubt that the price has over doubled for you to get these games onto here. I think the plan was always to up the price as much as you have. But anyway, in terms of the day one thing, yeah, there's no excuse. It doesn't cost more to supply it to the standard version of Game Pass as well. That doesn't cost more. There's no excuse for this. They're just trying to get everyone on to the Ultimate Game Pass, and that's annoying. That's very frustrating, and it must be frustrating, honestly. I don't know if anyone's tapped into this, but it must be frustrating for the developers. A lot of the reason developers would go for Game Pass is, you'd hear all these statistics like, yeah, okay, we didn't make that much in sales, but look at the downloads. This was downloaded 3 million times or whatever. If they do this, and take this away from standard subscription holders, then that is really going to eat into that download count, and these developers won't be able to flex that in order to push their game and make it seem, as popular as possible. I know that they get money up front, but they want to keep that game populated and keep, buzz around the game to keep attention around, the game itself, so that they can produce a sequel. And I think this will be particularly bad for people releasing games onto Game Pass that have an online component. like I said previously, people would be able to get onto there because it was free for Game Pass subscription holders. And this is now going to eat into the number of people who make up the population of these online games and keep them, going so that they can do things like sell DLC and microtransactions and keep things moving. Won't be doing that quite as much if, people aren't having access to this game anymore. And I think this will cause a few developers to back out of the program, which will just in turn make it worse. So we'll end up paying more for a worse program. It sucks. And upping the price, I mean, there's no excuse for that. And I do think the timing's bad, especially as Black Ops 6 is about to drop. The hype season is about to begin for Black Ops 6. This is about the time that they begin hype for Call of Duty games, and that would line up about perfectly. They spent billions getting this franchise, their first entry into the series, and it's going to be marred by people going, well, why did you do this to your Game Pass? Why have you, taken away my access and stuff like that? It's not going to be positive. Personally speaking, I don't work in PR, gaming PR, and I would never want to. And I know that, I'm not as knowledgeable as someone who would be, but there's been a lot of bad decisions in gaming PR recently. So how I would have done it is I probably would have waited until January, and then I would have announced probably that the subscription is going to go up, so that we can keep people in the ecosphere as much as possible in Call of Duty, give people time to, beat the campaign, blah, 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 play some multiplayer and get addicted to it. And then a few months down the line, maybe after a couple of weeks after a major launch, so that people can, get one last bite at the apple, then as a separate piece of news, reveal that, it's actually going to be taken away as well. But that's not how they've done it, and I really don't like this approach, and I don't like what's happening with Game Pass right now. If it continues to go up in the way that it is, I may end up jumping ship. With the next generation, I mean, as it is, Halo isn't really on the form that it used to be on, etc. I'm at the point where I don't even know whether Game Pass is worth it. If it wasn't for the fact that Xbox Live is bundled in, I would genuinely consider just cancelling it. I mean, at £20 a month, I probably beat around about 3 to 4 games a month, and in the sales you can pick up like 5 games for 20 quid if you do it correctly, and it's not like I'm curating the games that I get to play. And it's also not as if the service has got much better recently. I mean, they just gave us Chia, but that's just a sort of AA, fairly low budget game. A lot of the games coming onto that are AA, fairly low budget games. And thinking about it, I think I can only think of one Xbox Game Studio game that has come out this year, so it might not even be worth it to get Ultimate, to be honest with you. So yeah, it's terrible news, not happy about it, and if it keeps going this way, I may end up jumping ship. And I say that as someone who has been an Xbox guy for, a decade and a half now. I'm not sure how much more we can take. So yeah, that's a bit about it. And what happened to me there? I stuttered a lot. I forgot to speak. See you later.
The PlayStation is only $149, and you can also get leading titles.